and Charybdis from Homer's The Odyssey. So let me zoom in here. Hopefully you can see this, and let's jump on it. Scylla and Charybdis. Circe has warned Odysseus of another sea peril, other than the sirens, which we last read. He and his crew must pass between Scylla and Charybdis. Charybdis? What? I guess that makes sense. I was saying Chios earlier, so CH is that sound. So let me start over. Scylla and Charybdis. Circe has warned Odysseus of another peril. He and his crew must pass between Scylla and Charybdis. Scylla is a terrifying monster with 6 heads. She dwells in a high rocky cave, devouring sailors and ships that pass close by. Charybdis is a whirlpool. 3 times a day, she swallows the sea, then vomits it up fiery hot. It's kind of like the volcanic explosions on the ocean floor there. Remember, mythology sort of combines faith, science, and entertainment, so it would have an explanation like that. Supernatural phenomenon, or a natural phenomenon explained in a supernatural way. Circe has advised Odysseus to sail toward Scylla's crag, for it is better to lose 6 of his men, 1 to each of her heads, than for all to perish in the whirlpool. But scarcely had the island faded in blue air than I saw smoke. Oh, blue was mentioned. We're going to have to re-examine our... maybe this was just from the adaptation, but we had theorized that blue did not exist back when the Odyssey would have been told. We'll have to discuss that. But scarcely had that island faded in blue air than I saw smoke and white water, with sound of waves and tumult. A sound the men heard, and it terrified them. Oars flew from their hands. The blades went knocking. Wild alongside till the ship lost way, with no oar blades to drive her through the water. Well, I walked up and down from bow to stern, trying to put her heart into them, standing over every oarsman, saying gently, "Friends, have we never been in danger before this? More fearsome is it now than when the Cyclops penned us in his cave? What power he had! Did I not keep my nerve and use my wits to find a way out for us? Now I say, by hook and crook, this peril too shall be something that we remember. Heads up, lads, we must obey the orders as I give them. Get the oar shafts in our hands and lay back hard on our benches. Hit these breaking seas. Zeus, help us pull away before we founder. You at the tiller, listen and take in all that I say. The rudders are your duty. Keep her out of the combers and the smoke. Steer for that headland. Watch the drift, or we fetch up in the smother and you drown us." That was all, and it brought them round to action. But as I sent them on toward Scylla, I told them nothing, as they could do nothing. They would have dropped their oars again in panic to roll for cover and under the decking. Circe's bidding against arms had slipped my mind, so I tied on my cuirass, armor for the chest and back, and took up 2 heavy spears, then made my way along the foredeck, thinking to see her first from there, the monster of the gray rock harboring torment for my friends. I strained my eyes upon the cliffside veiled in cloud, but nowhere could I catch sight of her. So here he mentions, just real quick in line 621, told them nothing as they could do nothing. That goes back to on page 1 where we've been told Circe warned that basically you're going to lose 6 of your crewmates to Scylla, or you are all going to go down to Charybdis. He chooses to go past Scylla. Does not tell his men, though, that it's been foreseen that 6 of them are going to go, because if he told them that, it would be panic. They wouldn't do their jobs, and then none of them would survive. And all this time in travail, sobbing, gaining on the current, we rowed into the strait, Scylla to port, and on our starboard beam, Charybdis, dire gorge of the salt sea tide. By heaven! When she vomited, all the sea was like a cauldron seething over intense fire, when the mixture suddenly heaves and rises. The shot spume soared to the landslide heights and fell like rain. And when she swallowed the seawater down, we saw the funnel of the maelstrom, heard the rock bellowing all around, and dark sand raged on the bottom far below. My men all blanched against the gloom. Our eyes were fixed upon that yawning mouth in fear of being devoured. Then Scylla made her strike, wishing 6 of my best men from the ship. Whisking whisking 6 of my best men from the ship. So there you go. I happened to glance aft at ship and oarsmen and caught sight of their arms and legs dangling high overhead. Voices came down to me in anguish, calling my name for the last time. A man surf casting on a point of rock for bass or mackerel, whipping his long rod to drop the sinker, and the bait far out will hook a fish and rip it from the surface to dangle wriggling through the air. So these were borne aloft in spasms toward the cliff. She ate them as they shrieked there in her den in the dire grapple, reaching still for me. Deathly pity ran me through at that sight. Far the worst I ever suffered, questing the passes of the strange sea. We rode on. The rocks were now behind us. Charybdis, too, and Scylla dropped astern. All right, students, that is the passage Scylla and Charybdis, which I now know is the hard I want you to open up your journals, and in the book response section, I want you to answer the following question. Faced with the choice between Scylla and Charybdis, Odysseus does as Circe advises and chooses Scylla. He knows that 6 of his men will die, yet he withholds this information from his crew. Is this strength or weakness in his character? And explain. So all this time we've been talking about what makes a good leader, what is a hero, what is a noble hero or a noble leader. Is this an example supporting Odysseus as a noble leader, or is this a point against him? He does not tell his crew 6 of them are going to die, knowing that they're not likely to do their job. They're not going to keep rowing like their life's dependent on it if they know that there's a good chance they're not going to make it. Is that heroic for Odysseus to keep that to himself, or is it selfish, greedy, and unheroic? You tell me. I want you to write, a paragraph. Let's shoot for 3 to 7 because you got to explain yourself here. Remember, state your claim and then give me some supporting evidence. And please refer to the text. Okay. Be curious to hear your responses and what you think so far of Odysseus's heroics. That was Scylla and Charybdis. Thank you. Take it easy.